All across the country and the Piedmont Triad, Americans remember the men and women who died fighting for our freedom. Ceremonies on hallowed grounds, parades swelling with pride. On Memorial Day, we honor the service and the sacrifice. Tonight, we'll hear stories of the ones who died in battle, their families and friends and fellow Americans keeping their memories alive. Let's start with the Triad Gold Star family. The Wyatts live in Colfax. They lost their son Matthew back in 2004. He was a corporal in the United States Marine Corps. They tell WFY News 2's Grace Holland, today is personal.
You want me to do this one?
No, I got it. Okay. I got goosebumps.
A pain still present nearly 17 years later.
I'll be honest, part of that is just blank. I mean, I went numb.
As Alan Wyatt remembers the day his son, Marine Corporal Matthew Wyatt, gave his life to save his unit on December 3rd, 2004. His son shot the enemy driver of a truck carrying explosives before it reached his base in Iraq.
But unbeknownst to them, apparently there was a switch, it blew up, killing Corporal Bentley and my son, Corporal Matt Wyatt.
But it saved many others in the compound. Matthew received a Bronze Star for his heroism.
And I do think of him every day. I still love and miss you, son.
He and Corporal Wyatt's stepmother remember him as more than a Marine.
Always a jokester. He was involved with the drama club when he was in high school.
He loved sports. He absolutely loved the St. Louis Baseball Cardinals.
And reflect on his loss more often than on Memorial Day.
It's nice to see everyone else recognize what we go through every day.
Alan Wyatt retired from the Marine Corps months after his son's death.
Having spent 22 years, and I've known Marines who were killed, but it's having a loved one, a child, it just changes everything.
Years have passed, but his family still see reminders of what he made possible for so many others. They keep in touch with members of his unit who did come home to share photos of weddings and children.
His sacrifice enabled him to do that. I will admit it did hurt a little to look at those pictures because we never got to have the grandchildren that we were expecting.
His stepmother hopes we all honor the loss of families like theirs too, and remember the uncertainty current service members face.
Give them a hug because there's no guarantee they're coming home.
Forever chiseled into stone are tokens to a sacrifice for one's country more moving than the flow of any water. Grace Holland, WFMY News 2.
The annual Memorial Day ceremony at the Carolina Field of Honor was back in person today after being virtual last year because of coronavirus. Hundreds came out to Kernersville to pay their respects. Veterans, family of fallen service members, and more. We spoke to them about what Memorial Day means.
War is hell. It's just pure hell. And there's a lot of our young men that passed on because they were trying to serve us here in the country and keep the liberty going for us and all.
Unfortunately, a lot of our brothers and sisters didn't get to come back, so this time is just about honoring them, honoring their sacrifice, honoring their memory.
And you just saw that behind them there. There was also a Tree of Valor exhibition. It holds pictures of veterans honoring their service and their family. You can see a smaller version of that Tree of Valor at Cooper's Vintage Village in Kernersville. The Randolph County Honor Guard was in High Point today for the city's Memorial Day ceremony. Everyone gathered in downtown. Multiple people spoke, including Victor Jones, a Marine and current High Point City Council member.
I don't think there's anything better I could have done with my day than to be here and show my support for the veterans, to let them know we love them, we care about them, we honor them, and we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them.
The Randolph County Honor Guard is looking for more members. Any veteran from across the Triad can join. Over in Jamestown, they held the Taps Across America Moment of Remembrance. A troop of Boy Scouts and a senior patrol leader marched in procession from Oak Ridge Presbyterian Church to the Bugle Boy Giles Memorial. The Scouts placed flags at the memorial. They also held a moment of silence. Look at this video from Winston-Salem. A viewer played his bugle for the Taps Across America campaign. He played downtown in an apartment building just above Bailey Park. What a spectacular location for this powerful moment. That American flag waving over the Kimpton Cardinal Hotel off in the distance. And this photo will really strike you. A viewer sent this in of a serviceman standing at attention on Wendover Avenue in Greensboro. That's Staff Sergeant Alan Nix. He's a Marine Corps veteran who also spent decades with the Greensboro Fire Department. Now, Alan does this every year. He stands at attention at the corner of Wendover and Stanley Road from 10 a.m. to noon. So many of you have shared your Memorial Day stories with us on social media. Some of you served with people who died in battle. Many had a family member or friend whose life they honor today. Tonight, we want to share a couple of those stories with you. WFY News 2's Alma McCarty spoke with two Guilford County men whose loved ones gave the ultimate sacrifice.
Hasker Lee Nesbitt Jr., better known as Sonny.
He's contributed a whole lot more than what I could even imagine.
And Roger Dale Cheek.
He was special to me. Even though I was young, we were really close.
Two of the many servicemen and women who never made it home from the Vietnam War, both only 19 years old at the time they were killed.
August the 17th of 1968, he was leading a group in his platoon, and he was the first one out, and unfortunately he was shot and killed.
Harris Cheek of Greensboro says he was only 12 the day they got the news about his uncle.
We had heard, stories of how they come to your house, and we knew that when they pulled up, and they came to the door in their uniforms, and I just remember a lot of them were crying, and at first I didn't really know what was going on. Once it hit me, it was pretty rough.
Christopher Simmons of High Point says he never got the chance to meet his uncle, who died before he was born.
He gave his life for his country.
But his impact was clear. One of the reasons Simmons decided to enlist himself.
That was one of the influences. I knew that he had made that sacrifice, and I knew of the sacrifices that had to be made.
This year and every year, he makes sure his uncle's headstone inside the Green Hill Cemetery is taken care of, cleaned, and preserved.
I don't want his service to be in vain.
Both men say their uncles were heroes, their legacies and service shaping the way they view this solemn and important day.
I was always proud of, for him, the way he wanted to do that, and he was ready to do that, and he did that.
The highest regards for those who made the ultimate sacrifice. Alma McCarty, WFMY News 2.
President Biden honored America's military today, laying a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier. Afterward, he spoke about the troops' incredible sacrifice.
And generation after generation of American heroes have signed up to be part of the fight because they understand the truth that lives in every American heart. That liberation, opportunity, justice are far more likely to come to pass in a democracy than an autocracy. We remember those who gave their all in the service of America, in the service of freedom, in the service of justice. We remember their sacrifice, their valor, and their grace.
President Biden also visited a gravesite in Arlington National Cemetery and spoke with family there. Americans have celebrated Memorial Day for 153 years. Decades of battles, decades of service, decades of stories. Tonight, we want to share one from a World War II veteran from Greensboro. He told us what it means to have survived when so many didn't make it home. Many call Lynn Rachel's generation the greatest. Happy birthday! He's had a lifetime of experiences, and 2021 marks his 100th year.
Hey Lynn, tell him the story about that good time.
Back at 21, he was drafted into the Army. That's why this 100th birthday is even more special.
I didn't think I'd live to be 80.
Lynn was one of 16 million U.S. servicemen and women called to serve in World War II.
So the most people getting on these ships are crying. Said, y'all are hooping and hollering. We was. Just like we was going to a party or something. Loaded on that ship, just happy as a lark. 13 days to go across the ocean. And God, I thought we were never going to get there.
He was a new recruit in the 99th Infantry Division, his unit dubbed the Battle Babies. But they'd grow up quickly in their first test of war.
To win that Battle of the Bulge over there in Germany, I'm telling you the truth, that's something. You know how many divisions they had against our two? 19.
Lynn's division pushed forward. They were the first to cross the Rhine River.
Didn't have but a mile and a half to go, and we was all day getting there. There's so many daggum troops trying to get across the Rhine River.
It was one of the major turning points in the war. But more challenges were ahead. Unknown horrors waiting in Germany.
We captured 2 concentration camps. Them poor people in there starved to death. They had a building over here at the end, had a trap door to it. Went out down at the end of the mountain right there. Had a crematory down there. I'm telling you the truth, I don't see how anybody could do any human being like that.
Lynn in the 99th Division saw great victories and unspeakable tragedies. Then one night,
They come down, and here come a guy running and said, the war's over with. Couldn't believe what he said. No, I thought he was pulling a leg, but he did. Sure enough, it was. Boy, that was a happy time. Yeah, we was fixing to go in the officer next day.
2 campaign medals, a victory medal, and 3 Bronze Stars. But his most treasured memento?
I found a deck of cards. I shifted through them dang cards like that. Run across one and said, R-A-C-H-E-L. I said, shoot for it. That's my daggum name. I'll keep that card. I got it right here in my pocket.
One lucky playing card.
Been carrying that card ever since.
Protecting a man who's dealt with danger and adversity so we could be free. Tran, you can really see why they call them the greatest generation.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just facing almost insurmountable odds and, not only, going through that, but also succeeding and keeping the whole world free. And we definitely had to thank them for that.
And helping save so many. It was really powerful to see the look on his face after all this time talking about the horrors over there and imagining how that stuck with him through all of this.
Yeah, definitely some things you don't forget. So again, keep the veterans in your thoughts and prayers, and keep the families of the service members that didn't make it in your thoughts and prayers as well, as I'm sure that this day has even extra meaning for them.
Well, coming up, we're going to get to some other news of the day, including something that's happening on the highways that's pretty shocking. I was really surprised when I read this. Wait till you find out what drivers are not doing these days. Plus, we've also got another Confederate statue being taken down in our state. Find out where next.
It's time for you to hold me to it. We forecasted a high temperature today of 76, made it to 74, so that's a little check mark on the calendar. It's quiet out there tonight with lows in the 50s. Tomorrow it starts to get warmer and the humidity starts to increase with a high of 81 degrees, and I want you to hold me to it. Rain chances on the way. We'll show you the 7-day coming up.